Call the Davidson County Board of Commissioners meeting to order for Tuesday, March the 24th. It's a little after 6. Mr. Shell has the pledge and the invocation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you will. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today in humble admiration for all that you do, for your plans. Father, this nation and this world is experiencing some difficulty and some tragedies with regard to this virus. My trust is in you, Father, not in the flesh. We call upon your strength, your wisdom, and your guidance to help us through this, to give wisdom to our medical professionals who are working on creating a serum for this COVID-19 virus. We thank you, Father, for the many, many blessings that you've given to each and every one of us. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity during this tragedy to spend time together as families, to relearn each other, and to slow our pace down in this world where we live so fast. We thank you, Father, for all that you give us, and we call upon your wisdom as we move forward in conducting the people's business and in what we can do in our capacity to protect our citizens. For it is his precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair, if I can have just a moment. Commissioner McClure, I think you got some background noise, either something on the background or a phone or something of that nature.
He's got the meeting on and it lags.
Turn it down.
If he just could turn the meeting
If you
down.
can turn the meeting down, I think you got the meeting on. If you can just turn the volume maybe down, it's coming through the phone.
Tell him there's about a 5 to 10
Hold on a
delay.
I thought that was the sheriff's radio back there going
I
on.
did too. At first, I thought that's what it was, and then I heard the.
He's gonna have to get out of here in a minute. Sounds like it's hot. 1 second. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
All right, I have a change.
That better? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a change in the agenda for just a moment, if you will. I'm
That
asking.
better?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm asking that the resolution establishing a local government board meeting remote participation policy during the period of the COVID-19 state of emergency within Davidson County to be considered at this time. We will continue to the remainder of the deliberation agenda following the consent agenda. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Fry.
Madam Chair, members of the board, last Friday, at the request of the county manager, I drafted and forwarded to each of you a proposed resolution that you have in front of you tonight. I want just briefly to speak on several elements of that because this is something that is unique to us as a county and perhaps unique to us as a state. But the resolution recognizes that we are currently operating under a state of emergency, which has been declared by the chair here in Davidson County, and that there are recommendations and directives from national, state, and local public health officials about taking protective actions to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and that this proposed resolution speaks not just to the practice of the Board of Commissioners, but is intended to address all boards and counties within Davidson County local government, including the Board of Commissioners. And then the elements of it, starting with number 1 on the first page, there's no specified form that the committees or boards have to follow. It allows each individual board or committee, along with the advice of our IT professionals, to determine what works best for them, as we are tonight learning how to use alternative means. Paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 really talk about procedural elements. And then the heart of it is on page 2, paragraph 5A, because this is what is unique. Previously, we have said a quorum is present when there is a quorum physically present within this room. It may be in the near future that that is not something that we can achieve. So it allows a quorum to be established one of two ways. Either when a quorum is physically present, or when you add the number of participants who are physically present and those who are participating remotely, that can establish a quorum. And then there finally are some elements about not being permissible in a quasi-judicial hearing. Since the time this is drafted last week, the School of Government has given some further advice on quasi-judicial hearings. That's going to take some further work. It's not addressed in this policy. And then it also talks about closed sessions, that remote participation may be available during closed sessions on a case-by-case basis. I would respectfully tender this resolution for your consideration and note that it is applicable only during the period of the COVID-19 state of emergency within Davidson County. I know Commissioner Krotz had talked with me some time back about having a remote participation policy. This will not be what we will want to do or what we will do following the expiration of that state of emergency. It's only to address for the present situation.
It expires when the state of emergency expires.
Yes, sir.
I'm good with it.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, if you'll, want a motion to accept or to approve?
You have a motion?
Yes, ma'am, I'll give that motion to approve.
A second for Mr. Shell? All,
We're gonna do all the votes verbally this evening.
okay, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Give it 10 seconds.
I don't think
Did Don?
I don't
You
think
get
Mr.
done?
McClure.
At this point, since the
Oh.
resolution wasn't adopted,
Yeah.
and they were not excused, they will be yeses on the resolution adoption, and from this point forward, they will be able to vote.
Okay,
Okay,
that makes sense.
okay.
Commissioner Trull and Commissioner McClure, did you hear that? The resolution?
Fading out on me, but I heard most of it, yeah.
Okay, you're able to join the meeting now, basically.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So they was excused on the first vote, I guess.
If they weren't excused, that's why they're gonna be yes.
Until the
Yes, sir.
resolution was passed.
Yes.
That's right,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Tricky.
We do not have any recognitions tonight, and in an effort to keep this meeting brief, and to encourage social distancing, there's going to be no public address at this meeting. Okay? Are there any changes for the agenda?
Madam Chair, when the time comes, I'd like to add, something in the agenda to discuss social, media, information.
Could we add that as element number T?
That would actually be
Eight
agenda
B.
item
8B.
8B.
8B? Okay, excuse me, okay, excuse me.
What is that addition?
Social media, to
Social.
discuss social media, networking to get information out.
Okay. Anything else to add or remove?
Hearing none, Madam Chair, if you'd like a motion, I'll make the motion.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Troy, are you guys ready to, Commissioner Yates has made an addition to the agenda, to discuss social media. They're asking for a vote now to amend the agenda.
Crow votes aye. What is the amendment?
Commissioner Yates would like to discuss social media and our use of it here in the county during the, period, not just during the pandemic, I think, but period, during all emergency situations and any and above. But he's amended the agenda, so we're calling for the vote for that now.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving on to,
Yeah.
are they okay?
They are.
Okay, okay.
Going it through.
moving on to deliberation, Casey's gonna lead off, this.
Madam Chair, we need to vote on the consent agenda first.
Did I do that? Did I not skip right over that? I'm sorry. We have a,
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull item B off the consent agenda for discussion, and
okay,
I don't have a problem,
okay.
passing the rest of the consent agenda, or we can wait till,
Anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I make a motion, we approve, the consent agenda with the exception of item B.
Item B. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
all right, I'm gonna start off with this,
Commissioner Truul, are you in favor of that motion?
I really couldn't hear the motion. It's, y'all very,
The motion.
very light.
The motion is Commissioner Yates pulled item B off the consent agenda. The discussion of the Cardinal, Innovations Community, I can't remember the initiatives board, I think it's the name of it.
Advisory Board,
Advisory
Council.
Right, so they pulled that off the agenda for discussion.
Okay.
All right.
Commissioner Truul, are you okay with that?
I'm okay, yeah.
okay, I'm gonna start off this conversation, and I want Chris and, Commissioner McClure to know this is nothing personal against them, but I just got a few questions and like some guidance
I have
here.
to have you talk up or something. I can not hear you. I heard it. I don't want, it's nothing personal.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Commissioner McClure?
Yeah, all right.
Okay, yeah, this is nothing personal, for, you and Commissioner, Elliott here. One of my concerns is notice of meetings. If we put this, committee advisory council together, do we have to, handle this like our other committees and give public notice and have public meetings?
No, sir, because it will not be a county board. It is gonna be a Cardinal Innovations Board that they appoint. They will just report back to us, it's my understanding. They'll provide reports as we request
We asked for.
on what the CAC is doing.
So why is it on our agenda then if we're not appointing this board, or
Because
we?
you directed us to put it on there at the information, at the budget workshop. So we're putting it on just to clarify that they've changed their course of action. It's just informational to let you all know that they've changed course.
They seat the committee, run the committee, provide you reports as you ask for them.
It was a lot differently, positioned when we had our informational meeting or budget meeting.
Mhm.
Now there's no action needed by the board because that board doesn't belong to the board. Their, advisory council will be approved by their, community board.
Okay,
And so we have no role in it whatsoever. We're just acknowledging that. That's basically all.
we're just acknowledging that we don't have a role in it, and.
Yeah, that's.
That they changed, that
they're
they
gonna-
changed course in it.
They're gonna take ownership of it, in other words.
Okay.
All right, I'm
Uh,
good with that then.
If I may, Commissioner Yates, I serve on the Cardinal, Board, for the county commissioners. We have addressed, this and some other things within that board, but that board is what appoints to the Executive Committee for Cardinal Innovations.
I understand that, that was,
And we've
but,
changed,
but
yeah.
what was originally on, that we was gonna appoint these board members. So when we appoint these board members, that means they become a public meeting, they gotta, and I wasn't in all that, I wasn't,
and I,
okay.
and I agree with you, and that's why we changed that part of it.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve, item number B on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Commissioner
I have a
Fuller,
second?
Commissioner Trump, hear that?
What is that a motion?
Mr. Yates made the motion to approve item B off the consent agenda after
And-
the discussion.
Who made the second?
I did.
Mr. Shell seconded the motion.
Okay, Cool, so vote yes. option B don't change from what it was on the agenda?
Correct.
Okay, I vote aye.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now
I
I think.
voted aye. You want another one?
No,
We got it, thank you.
So the vote is 8-0.
The next one slipped in there.
Okay, now what Casey's gonna lead off, discussion of upcoming meetings.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Even though we have the remote meeting policy and we'll be able to possibly work our way through meetings, staff suggestion is we go ahead and cancel the work session meeting for April the 2nd, the immediate meeting in front of our face here. And then work our way to the next regularly scheduled board meeting. We've got, I think it's 5 public hearings, Debbie?
6.
6 public hearings that have been scheduled prior to this happening, at a guy's shop, and one for a building reuse grant that we're closing out.
Actually, Casey, 4 out of Guy, and then the
one
road
for
closure that was
Walsh.
initiated by Mr. Berg, and then the
Okay.
Thompson Plastics.
So we plan to move, I think, the building reuse grant closeout to the next meeting, the next regularly scheduled meeting.
We're just gonna leave it on the 14th. It was already scheduled for the 14th, and then
Right.
the plan just to leave it on the 14th.
And then there is another one from Guy's shop, is it the Isle of Pines?
Yes.
That's on for the 14th. The others we plan to move to May. And then Guy's already working with folks who are applying now, obviously pushing those probably out to June. So our staff recommendation is to cancel the next first meeting, which is the April 2nd work session, and then we'll move on to the regular scheduled meeting. We possibly will use the remote features if we can that you all just approved, and try to stagger some of these public hearings. A little bit on the 14th and probably some move back.
Yeah,
Also can use this for the committee meetings. We can use this feature here, because again, this has been approved for everybody to be able to use.
and Casey, I guess you've been in touch with Guy as far as any urgency to any of these things that need to be heard sooner than, the May meeting?
Guy, if you wanna come, there's, of the 5, those have been, I think, as I understand it, already in the works, right?
Correct.
Right. And so we've got a
You'll-
couple we think we could do on the 14th possibly. One may get moved, I'm not sure. Chuck will have to talk to the attorneys involved in those situations. The building reuse grant is just to closing the grant out, that one's easy.
Right,
So,
right.
but some of them may get moved around. Dial Pines may not, it may be on for the 14th, we'll have to see.
I think what Commissioner Shell's saying, we don't wanna stop business from moving forward. We got enough issues already. So if there's anything that needs to be addressed, I mean, I'm willing to make it to the meeting, so.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have to do something different on these meetings, 'cause I don't know whether Don can hear or not, but I'm missing most of this. And I don't wanna miss it if I gotta vote on it.
I understand, I don't know if you can hear them, is that the problem, you can't hear the other commissioners?
Have you ever heard of this, Zoom, ZOOM?
Yes, I have.
It allows a face-to-face, but I understand it's a lot clearer. We got that in the church, and it seems like that, they're holding their meetings by it, and it's a lot clearer, but I don't know whether it's because they're not getting up to the microphone, or it's not picking up, but I don't know who was talking last time, but I couldn't even hear it. I could just hear the sounds.
Casey, your microphone's not all the way, like,
But I'm not
Well,
picking
this
up
one's
the
picking
words.
up him.
Don, how about you? Can you hear
He
all that?
can't hear you,
I can hear most of it, but,
he can probably hear
you're
you.
right, yeah, when Chuck or the manager speaks, I can hear that real loud.
Right.
Yes, I get that.
We'll work on microphones
Yep.
somehow, and we'll check, we've already checked into the Zoom, I used it the other day on a conference call, it does allow for some other features, so I think Lillian's got licenses up to a certain amount we might can use. So sorry for this meeting, it didn't quite work, this is kind of a trial by error anyway.
Believe it or not, I used Zoom yesterday for a doctor appointment.
Wow.
It took me 2 hours to figure out how to put it on there, but I
Commissioner McClure, to recap, what staff's asking is for the upcoming meetings, and again, we'll go back and try to figure out what we need to do as far as now we have a remote meeting policy. So that can be used for any of the committees or any type of function going on with the county. What staff's recommending though for the immediate future is the work session for April the 2nd, we go ahead and cancel that. We didn't really have, a lot of pressing issues coming up on that meeting anyway. And then go ahead and have the next regularly scheduled meeting prepared, and again, we'll work on this microphone issue in Zoom. There are some public hearings, and I'm gonna let Guy come up to the podium, you will be able to hear him, cause he's gonna be right above you. But we've got some public hearings that we need to try to get, either some of them done on the 14th, and then maybe move some to May. Okay, I'm gonna let Guy come up and you'll be able to hear him.
Casey,
Yes, sir.
how come we hear you so good and we're not hearing the rest of them?
The microphones, they're talking in the microphones, and I think it's a distance thing. I'm not exactly sure, I can't,
And you're on a conference phone.
and I'm right
You
above
reckon
you.
there's any way to hook up a mic and, and
I
just
will
pass
figure that out when we're not in the middle of a regular meeting, but for right now, the distance, they're 25 feet from you, and I think that's why you can't hear them. I am 6 inches above you, so.
That's good enough. It's good enough
Okay.
for now.
Yeah.
For right now, I'm just playing translator.
Right.
Yeah, just stand right there.
okay, I got what the meeting scheduled.
Now, somebody just
Heard
do a
that.
test, hold on just a
Fred
second.
Steve Shell, can you hear me?
Commissioner
Yeah, I
McCoy,
can hear you.
can you hear Commissioner Shea a little bit better? Go ahead, Steve.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I don't know that I can get any closer.
Can you hear me, Fred, Don?
I can hear the sound, but I can't make out the words.
It's probably a little
Okay,
muffly.
Yeah, I
we'll
can
figure
hear
it out.
I can hear you okay on mine.
It's hard to fix this, like say, in the middle of a meeting,
Right,
so.
right. We'll work on that piece of it, Commissioner McClure, no problem. But that's basically the issue on the table, is canceling the April 2nd work session. Continuing with committees as we need to. We can possibly use the remote features for that if we have to. We can treat those committees can run themselves, as far as I'm concerned. And then the next scheduled meeting, we're ready to go. We do have some public hearings. I'm gonna let Guy come up real quick. That we probably are gonna try to work some through April, some of them may go to May. That's basically what we're talking about now.
Okay.
Good evening. We do have 3 MXRs that are scheduled for the April 14th public hearing. They are for Chris Reed, and we have 2 by Brad Coe for developers, and they're also scheduled for April the 14th. And we also have a request from Clayton Homes for rezoning of property for a client from RS to RA2, and that is also scheduled for April 14th. So those are 4 that we already have in the hopper. We also have the Isle of Pines, you'll recall, that was continued to April 14th, and I believe it would probably be prudent to try to get an answer on that, but I'll defer that to council.
That is a request for a road closure. The board may recall when it was last scheduled for hearing, there was a large congregation that came with regard to that. I've been in touch with the attorneys for the proponent and the opponent of that, and I was hesitant to ask this board to make any decision with regard to rescheduling tonight, simply because I think they need to be present at that time, or at least have an opportunity to voice their position with regard to rescheduling. And so at this point, I would ask if you would just leave it on that date. I do not have a reasonable expectation it will be heard on that date as a result of some of the arguments that are going to be made.
So leave that one on May,
No, April.
April. Leave that one on April, okay. Okay.
The only 2 that would be on April the 14th would be the Isle of Pines and the Thomason Plastics closeout. And the request would be to continue the other 4 to May the 12th.
Okay.
You putting Brad's on May the 12th? No.
On the 14th?
Yeah, I mean, this is business, looks to me like that. I don't know what they are, but.
They're for residential development.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and that's prolonging. So you had 2 from Brad, and who was the other one?
Chris Reed, he has an MXR.
Okay, so all 3 of those need to go on the April 14th, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We were gonna try to use the 14th to do some of these trial, if we have to go this route with all this new technology, practice a couple of easy ones before we had anything a little rougher.
How about like gotomeeting.com or something? I mean.
That's basically what the Zoom is.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it does. It allows you the ability to log in or phone in, either way.
Well,
And Lillian's got multiple licenses of it, so we'll give that a try. But if Brad's could be to at least the second meeting in April, that'd give us some time to work through some of these issues. The building reuse grant is an easy one, so I think that'll be fine. That's the reason why we went ahead and pushed it to 14th.
You know, if we gotta bring telephones in here or something, I mean, I think we need to try to get these.
I think Zoom, because it works a lot like GoToMeeting, I
Right.
think it will
And
definitely.
we can pull them up to the 14th. I think that's fine. It's just, you know, be aware of the technological challenges.
And I'm okay with that because,
Work through it. We got a couple weeks.
again, I don't wanna mess business up if
Don't
we,
either, and so, we're trying, and also trying not to have a backlog of these if we ever get back out of this jam and we got bunches of them sitting there, so.
God does have somebody.
We will work on,
It's gonna,
yeah, anything that's contested, I wouldn't wanna put it on that fourth meeting, but anything that, you know, I wouldn't think most of these development rezones or whatever would be too contested.
plus we also need to develop a strategy for, as Chuck and I talked about, if we do have people coming in, there's a possibility of maybe having to usher them in one at a time, you know, to keep the room limit down, so we need a way to work through that as well, some of these. How many of these can we get on the 14th?
Looks like he's just
I'd like to try to get the three
Three.
MXRs if we could.
So how many of the 5 would that be done?
Let's see, that would, if we could get the three MXRs and the Clayton Homes, that would take care of the 4 rezones.
so that's leaving us with 6 public hearings on for the 14th.
When you had your meetings, did you have opposition, much opposition, those 3?
No,
So we're not looking at a big population?
I haven't had the planning board meeting yet.
Oh, okay.
That road closure's gonna bring a bunch of people.
And
Yeah,
that's the
you
one
know,
we're
but I don't think
gonna
I don't think the attorney's gonna allow that to be heard yet.
Yeah, the road closure we need to put off, cause those people really need to be in the room if we could, so hopefully this'll be over, before too long. But like I say, these projects that's people trying to get construction started on,
One of the MXRs is at V. Sicker Road and West Center Street Extension. One of the MXR districts is located at the intersection of V. Sicker Road and West Center Street Extension. And it's requested to go from, RS and RA3 to MXR.
Down below the school?
It's adjacent to the, private school.
I'm fine with those.
you know, we'll just fight through it. It may be a little difficult, but maybe that gives y'all quite a bit of
It'll give us
time.
plenty of practice too, and it gives us
Right.
also time to work through a strategy,
So, and the case that Chuck's mentioning, Chuck, am I so far off to think that we're not gonna hear this thing until the Superior Court judge hears it?
I think that's what the board's gonna have to decide. At some point, the board's gonna have to decide that.
Regardless of what the board decides, they can appeal it to the,
Superior
court.
right,
Yeah, they'll
right,
do
right,
that.
Right.
so, I don't know why we would waste our time doing that, tell them to go to war and to get it resolved.
We have to
hear it.
Because we can't override a judge,
No, no.
no matter what our decision is, how much in favor or against or whatever. We can't override a judge, they just gonna go straight out there and then you're gonna have to be involved in that probably, aren't you?
Yeah.
And so that's gonna be county tax dollars we're spending on something we know we're gonna lose.
At this point, the only thing I'm, with regard to that, with the Isle of Pines, is just to leave it on for April 14th. And I would anticipate we would not hear it on that date, but at least council could be present. And,
What about the crowd?
well, I'm going to communicate to them ahead of time that it is not gonna be heard on that date.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
With your permission.
am I hearing this correctly? So, no matter what we do, both sides will take it to Superior Court? Is that?
I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here in all candor. And I don't know, without council being present, how much we really wanna talk about this.
Okay.
And so at this point, I think the only thing I'd like to do is to speak to scheduling.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, do we have a clear, do you have it clear in your notes as to which ones are gonna be on which night?
One for Chris, two for Brad,
In the Clayton Homes.
and the Clayton Homes.
All pretty,
Sounds,
Says it's RS to RA2, it's on an MSR.
Yes, Clayton Homes is just a single lot for
Yeah, that shouldn't be any difficulty at all.
Still 5 on the 14th, is that correct?
That's what I'm hearing.
And
5 on
that's
the
what-
14th with one we all know may move, we're not
Yeah,
sure, so we'll see.
That would leave, the road closure, the Isle of Pines, Davidson Ridge by Bradco, and the Easticker Road by Bradco, Arnold Road by Bradco, and then that would leave Corey Albright and Clayton Homes to be moved to May the 12th.
Yeah, they haven't even been set for public
Okay,
hearing yet,
okay.
so I was just gonna have those on consent.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Clayton Homes was already set.
Yes.
So to move so Clayton Homes will actually be the only one already set for the 14th. Do you all wanna move it to the 28th or May 12th?
What, Clayton Homes or who?
The Clayton Homes, it's just it's an RS2 and RA3.
That shouldn't take but a minute.
So just put them all on?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean,
As of the 5 we just started off the discussion with, it sounds like they're all tentatively on the 14th.
all right.
Okay.
That's all six
All
of
right,
them are.
all
Just-
6 of them, right.
Just one of them, we're not sure we're gonna hear because we can't.
We know the issues behind that, so that's the game plan, if y'all are okay with that.
Okay.
Second gets, terminated for now.
Mhm.
Committees move on, I guess they get to call their meetings as they need to. And, the 14th will be a regular meeting. And we'll try our best to get our arms around some of this technology.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So do I have a,
Commissioner
Motion.
McClure and Commissioner True, did you hear that?
I heard most of what you said, yeah.
Okay, I'm just reiterating what I think the group is, I think everybody's moving in that direction. I'm just summarizing it.
Yeah,
all right, I need,
I got you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve what Debbie
Yeah.
said.
County,
I'll
attorney, I heard
second.
all those real
Chris
clear.
seconds.
Yes, and, we got a motion and a second, and
All in favor?
all in favor.
Aye.
Can't
hear
you,
Fred.
We got 2 out of that one, there you go.
All right.
Is this an 8-0 as well?
Oh, that one's 7, I think, there's only 2 on this side, unless one of y'all know.
Okay, the social media thing that, I discussed earlier, I've noticed Davie County's got a pretty interesting Facebook page. Their county Facebook page, and I know our health department's got a Facebook page, I know our DSS has got a Facebook, but the problem I'm seeing out here now on the street, getting a lot of questions the last couple of weeks of what do we do here, what do we do there, and I think it'd be nice if we could get somebody in the county, one of our staff members, to do a Facebook page and keep it updated with the current information, instead of it trying to come from 2 or 3 different departments. Those departments, they can still put it on their Facebook page. Well, maybe they need to put it on the county Facebook page. You know, everything needs to go to the county Facebook page now, where everybody can just look in one place. Like I was telling Lillian, I've been giving out some bad information a few days because the information I got Thursday morning was changed Thursday night, and I didn't have any idea it had changed, and Lillian didn't either. So, you know, the state probably didn't communicate with her, or in this time, sometimes it's hard to miss or easy to miss an email, but, you know, it's very important that this information gets to the citizens. So I think we need a pathway of getting it to the citizens the easiest way we can, so.
I'd make a recommendation that right now, the public information officer through public health could be, you know, the obvious person to handle all this information, especially with our, health director being able to approve everything that gets pushed out, obviously going through them. But I totally agree with, Commissioner Yates, everything needs to be streamlined, and.
Let me get Joel. Joel, if you can hear me, I'm not sure he can out here. He probably needs to weigh in on this, since he kinda knows where the overall.
He's behind you.
He's
Wizard of Oz.
Godfather.
And how that works.
I seen him look at Lily and say, "This is good, this is on you."
She had to look, and he had to look, neither one of them matched up, so.
Yeah.
I don't think neither one of them wants it, but
The health department's Facebook page by far has more followers than the county's Facebook page. So it's reaching more of an audience by going to the health department's Facebook page.
well, you know, I've tried to find Davison County's Facebook page and I can't even find it, so I see why they would have more than Davison County. But I don't have a problem with the county still sharing, the health department still sharing on theirs. But we need to get one up and running, where where they can at least share their information on there too. And like I say, DSS, anything the governor's executive orders need to be put on there. Any kind of information like I got from Lillian that affects our businesses should be on there, you know, I mean.
We have on that homepage listed all these orders, all of the service shutdowns.
Mhm.
That's on the county's homepage.
Yes.
With direct links with the
Right,
remote.
and what I've told you earlier, nobody's sitting at home playing on their home pages. They're not looking at web pages. Everybody's, you know, this is the way people communicate now, is on their phone with Facebook or on their tablet.
It's going in the county one, so I mean, I don't know how
Well-
to push it to do. We'll have to have help with the pushing part.
Right.
I don't know who to push it to.
If the county page will share, like if we put it on the health department page, and then the county page shares the health department page, that information, not just the page,
Let them kinda link.
let them link together, Parks and Rec, when they see something, or, and if all the departments would work together, and that's what I brought up 3.5 years ago, called Nation Builder, which takes these items and it works together to where the county's the main site, and then your departments fall under the county. So if the county puts something on there, it goes to all of them automatically. And there's systems out there, and I know Joel's looked into them, 'cause we've talked about it, that when the county does it, it goes to all of them. But if Parks and Rec does something, the county sees it, and they just hit a button and it goes on the main site. But that way we get that information out there. But if the health department's already got a bunch of followers, it is a health crisis right now, then it makes perfect sense for them to issue those statements. But then we need to encourage the other departments to go on there a couple times a day and share whatever the health department's doing, because unless we pay to boost those posts, the only way to get a natural boost for it to get out in the public is as many people as possible sharing it, because the more you get it shared, then the more it goes up in people's news feeds. And that's the only way at this time right now. Now, once this is over, we can do an analysis to figure out what can we do to help next time. But at this time, that's really all we can do unless we pay to boost it.
And one thing that a lot of folks don't realize within our departments is if they want something shared, for example, like senior services, one of their events, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And you share it, and normally you'll get so many likes and things like that, and then when you share this, you get one or two. After a while, when you share these things, you finally realize it's because their security settings is restricting how many people can actually see that. And so we need to make sure that they understand how that works, you know, when they want something shared, but their security settings are such that it restricts the number of people that can actually see it from your wall. Even if I got my wall public, people don't see it. Because I've tried to inquire why, and they don't see it. I don't see it, Steve. You know, it's because of the settings of that, where it originated from.
Well, Steve, I think you're talking about a personal account versus a page account is vastly different. A personal account, you can have the privacy settings, but a regular account like what the county has, or a political account, it's not the same thing. When you share it, it's public.
Where most people get these things, that share these things, is they'll get it in a email, and then you download it, and you copy it and paste it, and then you put it up on your site. People can't see it. People are not searching all over the website like you, Zach, and a lot of other people looking for these pictures. They could care less. And so when something comes across our way and we share those things, and people can't see them.
Mm.
I've talked to too many people that can't see these things, you know.
Can the main page be a place to where, and again, you have to forgive me because I don't use Facebook.
Yeah, it can. Davie County, just look at Davie counties, and I have to say they got a nice looking.
I will say right now, staff time is a challenge for IT. I want you to realize that. Demands that we've gotten from departments have, and just like probably for any other departments, these last week and a half has been incredibly demanding to support our departments. So, but we can work with those, particularly the health department, since seems to be the main feed, and coordinate some activities through them to get it so it's shared on the county's page as well.
Why don't you get with Davie County and see who handles theirs and how they do it? I mean, I don't like reinventing the wheel. Kind of see who administers theirs. How many followers do you have, Lillian, on your, Facebook page? I know the one Steve Shell and I kind of operate, we got like 15,500 followers.
So, forgive me, as a millennial, I am not the best with social media.
You're a lot
but
better than old people.
What I can tell you, and I don't know the difference, we have 1,362 likes, but 1,836 people following. I don't know if those are mutually exclusive.
A like automatically follows, but you can follow without liking, and a follow means that it shows up in your news feed. I understand social media, to a T, so, but that, does that explain?
Yes.
So, okay, 'cause you can follow it but not like it. Like, I may follow a political opponent, but I may not like their page, but that way I can see what they're putting out.
Okay, that makes sense. So what we're putting out technically is reaching a little over 1,800 people.
Okay. The only thing I'm trying to do here, Joel, is get the information out there firsthand. Like I say, I had some stuff posted that I'd got that I thought it was current. And somebody's going to stay on top of that here to make sure it's current, to get the information out there,
And we're talking about a Facebook page Davie County has?
Yeah, Davie
That
County.
doesn't take a whole lot of time or
it's got
anything else to
400
set up a Facebook page.
The current Davidson County Facebook page has 430 some odd likes, so there's not many at all.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, so you
Yeah.
gotta dig deep to even find it.
The actual, profile picture does not have our logo. It says office is closed on it, so when you find it. But it does have our website on it.
Yep.
I think we all know that there's an issue with getting stuff out, and I think the root cause is we need somebody in a position that could get everything out, and also build rapport with local news agencies and everything like that, because, if you get a seasoned PIO that can really do that, everybody's concerns, everything that you want right there, absolutely. She could build a rapport with Raleigh, and when it comes out, she could have it to all of us, and then everybody out in the news. I think that would be a good thing to look for in the future.
We'll take a look at the Davie County. We'll see what we can do. And the pushing part of it's the part I'm might need y'all's help, I don't know.
And that's what I told somebody last night. Don't kill me for being the messenger, I had old information I didn't know they was new out there,
When we get it in our emails, anything coming down with EOs, executive orders, that's the new, just don't like to say the word all the time, or updates from them, we're pushing them out as hard as we can, you all and everybody else, so.
And we try to put them on social media, but again, it'd be nice if,
Every once in a while something comes out and it didn't quite, everybody didn't pick up on it fast or something, it came out and whatever, so. A lot of stuff's coming out, as I'm sure y'all are getting tons of emails.
Oh, God.
Multiply that by bunch, over on this side, so. But we will look at the Davie County one and see what we can do, make that front page a little more, I use the term beefed up.
and I think I ain't paid a lot of attention to Davie County, but I don't think you can comment on it as more for just
Passing information.
Right. Because you don't wanna get into somebody,
Right.
gotta sit there and try to answer questions on there.
No.
We just talked to the DSS board a while ago, can they come up with a frequently asked question list if we had a Facebook page to put that on, instead of people asking me or Shell or Commissioner Watford here, all these different questions, we could say, hey, go check it out, or even that would be answers for us, so we'd have to stop asking, all of us, you got 7 of us asking you all the same questions periodically, just cut out some of that, we could go to that page and read it, and here's your answers, so.
Thank you.
We ain't never lived through anything like this, but we gotta try to learn from it.
No, I understand completely.
Do we have a motion
We got direction.
to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Truill, motion to adjourn.
I second.